You know that humble little box with the blinking lights that connects you to, well, everything? Your router. It seems so simple, but it's a powerhouse of activity. Have you ever actually wondered what's going on inside that thing in the first minute after you plug it in? Well, we're about to pull back the curtain and demystify the first 60 seconds in the life of a network router.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the router's wake-up call. Then we'll peek inside its digital brain. After that, we'll learn how to say our first hello, get the hang of its language, and finally, figure out the right questions to ask it.
Okay, first up, let's look at what is basically the router's morning routine. From the very second it gets power, a really specific, super important sequence of events kicks off. I mean, it kind of feels like magic, doesn't it? A few lights blink, and then boom, you've got internet. But it's definitely not magic. It's a precise, four-step process that brings this powerful little device to life.
So here are those 4 key steps. First, it runs a self-check called post, just to make sure all its hardware is working properly. Think of it like a quick stretch in the morning. Then it loads a tiny program called the bootstrap. That bootstrap's only job is to find and load the main operating system, or iOS. And finally, once the OS is up and running, it loads your saved settings from the configuration file.
Now, for that 4-step sequence to even be possible, the router relies on 4 different kinds of memory. Each one has a very specific job to do. Let's dig into the key components that make this whole startup process work. You know, the easiest way to think about it is like a human brain. ROM holds the basic, unchangeable instincts, the stuff it just knows how to do, like the post and bootstrap. Flash memory, that's like the hard drive where the full operating system is stored. NVRAM is for long-term memory. It holds on to your saved startup settings. And RAM, that's the active short-term memory where everything is happening right now once the router's booted up.
So let's zoom in on ROM, or read-only memory. Think of this as the router's DNA. It's permanent, it can't be changed, and it contains the most fundamental instructions. Check the hardware with post, and then kickstart the whole boot process with the bootstrap. Okay, next, that little bootstrap program goes hunting for the main operating system, the iOS, which lives in flash memory. It finds it, copies it, and then unpacks it into RAM, that active workspace. This is literally just like you double-clicking an app on your computer to launch it.
Now this final piece, this is what makes the router your router. All your saved settings, the IP addresses, your security rules, all that good stuff are stored safely in NVRAM. The iOS copies this startup config into RAM, and at that moment, it becomes the running config. This is the live, active set of rules the router is going to follow from here on out.
So, the router is now fully awake, it's configured, and it's ready to go. How do we actually talk to it? Let's switch gears and look at how you, the network admin, make that all-important first contact.
To make that first connection, you're going to use a special little thing called a console cable. You use it to plug your computer directly into the router's console port. And the real beauty of this method is that it requires 0 network configuration. It just works. That makes it absolutely essential for setting up a new device or, when the whole network is on fire.
Now sure, there are other ways to connect, like using Telnet or SSH over the network, but they all need the router to already have an IP address and be connected. That console port, though, that's your universal key. It's the one method that always works, especially for a brand new device or in an emergency. So, you're connected. You open up your terminal program and you see a blinking cursor. This, my friend, is the Command Line Interface, or CLI. To get anything done from here, you've got to learn to speak its language.
The CLI isn't just one big free-for-all. It's structured into a hierarchy of different nodes. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like different security clearance levels. With each level you go up, you get more power and more access.
The first 2 levels you'll always run into are user exec and privileged exec mode. You can spot user mode by that little greater than symbol. It's basically a view-only mode. You can look around, run some basic checks, but you can't change a thing. Privilege mode, on the other hand, is marked by the hash symbol or #. This is where the real power is. From here, you can get to all the commands and actually make changes to the configuration.
And moving between them, super simple. From user mode, you just type enable to enter privileged mode, and it might ask you for a password if one's set. To go back, you can use disable or exit. It's a really clear, deliberate way to control who has access to do what.
All right, let's get to the payoff. This is how it all comes together so you can actually have a conversation with this device. We're in. We know how to move around. So how do we ask the router what's going on inside?
The syntax is really straightforward.
You have the prompt, which tells you what mode you're in. Then you type a command, like show or ping. And after that, you might add a keyword or an argument to be more specific, something like show IP protocols or ping 192.168.10.5.
And hey, don't worry about making mistakes. We all do. The CLI is actually designed to help you out. If a command is ambiguous or you forget a word, it'll tell you. If you just type something wrong, it will often put a little caret symbol right underneath where the error is. And the question mark key? That's your best friend. You can use it anytime to see what commands are available.
The show command is your main tool for seeing what's happening. And notice how this ties everything together. It lets you peer into all those components we just learned about. You can look at the running config in RAM, the startup config in NVRAM, or even the iOS file in Flash. It's your window right into the router's mind.
One of the most useful commands out there is show version. This is like asking to see the router's ID card. It tells you the exact software version it's running, how long it's been on, the type and amount of memory it has, what interfaces are installed. It's an incredibly detailed snapshot of the device's identity. And there you have it. In just the last few minutes, we've gone on a complete journey. We watched a silent box perform its self-check, load its brain and its personality, and then we learned how to physically connect to it, navigate its internal structure, and start a real conversation.
You've just unlocked the ability to see exactly how your network operates, right from the inside. The commands are just the beginning. The real power is in understanding the answers the router gives you. So now that you can ask the questions, what will you build?